I was with Joshua. When she came back upstairs, I handed him to her, and the minute he went into her arms, he died. Warning, this topic may cause discomfort for some, but I firmly believe that facing into hardship and confronting pain is essential to the healing process. Our aim is to provide insight into forgotten ancient practice of washing our dead. We invite you to explore with us the meaning and importance of this ancient ritual and how it can offer comfort and closure in times of sorrow. I handed him to her, and the minute he went into her arms, he died. And I thought, that's incredible. He waited to die with his mother. And I thought, that's really primal. It's really something far greater than anything I can comprehend has happened right now. So then I went and got Luca and my parents, and I had to get them down to the beach. So Joshua had died, but we obviously had a 4-year-old, and we wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to witness this at that moment. Not that it's a bad thing, but obviously it's all a bit chaotic. So I went off, got him to the beach, and came back. When I came back to the house, I walked into the bedroom and I witnessed the most primal act I've ever seen in my whole life. Joshua was lying on his changing mat and Beatrice was bathing his dead body and cleaning and cleansing and preparing him. And I can never, for the rest of my life, ever imagine seeing anything like it in my life. And it wasn't Beatrice. What I saw was a primal being doing something that was innately deep within us and knowing how to do it. And doing it in such an incredibly loving way that it was astounding. And she'd been with him for an hour at this stage. And post Joshua's funeral and us coming to Ireland, and it's now 12 years since he died, she's never been in counselling. She's never had to speak to anybody. I had her actually with a counsellor once because I was convinced there must be something wrong with you. Typical male approach. And I look back at it now, and I often reflect on this. And when I'm speaking to corporates, this is always a hard thing to hear. But I always think, who washed the dead body? He who washed the dead body came to terms with the reality of the event. And the he in this matter was she. And I didn't. And I lacked that connection. And when I got back, and I saw her doing that, I then rang the funeral home and I was like, where are you? I need to move this along now. So I had moments of being with his dead body. But she faced into the absolute reality of the situation in the most primal way, connecting to the core of her being. And she's never had a problem with Joshua's death. She can speak about it openly. She's a phenomenally incredible human being. And I didn't wash the dead body. So when I talk to people and I work with people, and especially when I do like intense kind of 2 or 3 day sessions with people, this theme will come up and I'll say, tell them the story, and then I'll say, now we're going to talk about all the dead babies that you need to wash. That's all of the tough shit that we really need to deal with in our lives. Because when we do that, we will connect into the primal, innate version of ourselves. And forget the 2.0. For most people, what's it like if you were actually just able to be you? The you that is for you and not playing to the audience. So getting into our pain and unpacking it and coming to terms with it frees up so much mental capacity in our brains. We're overwhelmed with stuff that we're holding on to. And we're compounding it with the next thing and the next thing and the next trauma, the next trauma. Unpack them all. Clear out the RAM drive. Free yourself up. And then see what life is like. We all have an immense capacity within this kind of traumatic center of our brain. But if we overload it, eventually, just like your hard drive, it falls over. And unless we then start to clean it out, we can't function. So for me, a lot of people will often talk to me and think, well, oh yeah, so Joshua's death really, knocked you for 6. I think Joshua's death was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was trying to hold a lot of shit together for a long time, and something had to give. And in so many ways, I'm really thankful that it did. Because I think if Joshua had lived, I don't think my marriage would have survived. I don't think I would have survived. I think I probably would have died from some health issue, but potentially from suicide, because it was all just ratcheting up in my head. So sometimes we have to actually come offline, like really disconnect from all of our systems in order to completely break ourselves down. And then we can put stuff aside that's not needed anymore. And it's like, I like to call it tacit acceptance of things that we don't really need, like really deep acceptance. And then to be like radically transparent of where I want to go and understand that to get there, I'm going to have to get into some really deep, mucky, grimy shit in my life. But when I do, my nervous system's going to know that event's gone. And for me to be able to sit here and talk about Joshua's death and use the words death, dead, not past, somewhere else in a better place, because that's all language that obfuscates reality in our brain. We have to face reality. In Buddhism, they talk about the suchness of life. Life just as it is. Facing into your life just as it is. Not the life that you want to live. And the energy that you expend trying to lean into that life that you want to live. Just be in the life you're in. Face into the realities. Stop running away from all the things you're running away from. And then you'll find those moments of flow and happiness, and you get back into your sport, or you get back into your life. I had the best private equity deal I ever did in my whole life was when I came to terms with Joshua's death. Best deal I ever did. I did practically nothing. I just connected back into all of the things that had made me into that professional at that moment.